Since 2017, Fortnite has had 30 seasons up until today. There's obviously been some good and some bad seasons, and there's been the best of the best peak seasons of Fortnite. And we are going to talk about some of the best Fortnite seasons of all time. And you have to factor in a lot of things here, such as the loot pool, the battle pass, the storyline, and what it brought to the game. Gameplay wise, new guns, etc. But yeah, to kick things off, I'm going to start with Chapter 1, Season 4, released on May 1st, 2018. Season 4 was when the storyline began to kick off. You had the rocket launch event that led to, honestly, the Fortnite storyline. This kicked everything off because it led into the next season, which was Season 5, and brought the rift to the sky that then led to the birth of Kevin the Cube, which is a critical factor in the Fortnite storyline, as we all know. But going back to Season 4, like I said, it was the start of the storyline. Besides Season 3, which you got the meteors that would come down in the middle of the game. That was kind of the first start, and then you had the meteor in the sky. But yeah, Season 4 was the start of it officially. You had the superhero themed battle pass with Carbide and Omega, and then you had other skins like Technique and Zoe and Squad Leader and Valor. But yeah, coming off of Season 3, beginning in Season 4, you had the meteor strike Dusty, which created, as we all know, Dusty Divot, and Dusty Divot introduced Hop Rocks as well. You also had craters around the map that also had Hop Rocks. One was at Risky, one was at Prison. But yeah, that was the first form of mobility besides impulse grenades and all that, natural mobility. That was the first. Let's talk about bouncers, which followed off of the low gravity effect for mobility, and bouncers were a trap. You could place, you could bounce off, get that low gravity effect and not take any fall damage while also boosting you forward. So it was really unique at the time, and it is another mobility item that was added. Now, when you think of Season 4, you can't forget the Infinity Gauntlet LTM that was released, which introduced the first mythic to the game, which was Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. And this game mode was so fun. The feeling of picking up the Infinity Gauntlet was out of this world. The amount of health you had, it was so fun, and one of the most iconic moments in Fortnite history. Moving on, you also had jetpacks introduced and the drum gun. Jetpacks, another mobility item. Nowadays, if you were to bring back jetpacks, they wouldn't be as effective. Jetpacks back then were really fun though. Everybody was still pretty bad at the game, and flying up and down was really sick at the time. And the drum gun was absolutely busted. When this gun first came out into the game, it was at the very end of Season 4, and the fire rate on this thing, the damage, the headshot damage, it was 50 plus. It was crazy. You could kill somebody in 4 shots if you hit all headshots. It was insane. And still to today, it's one of my favorite guns. Obviously, after nerf, not really, but pre-nerf drum gun, that is one of my favorite guns of all time. You also saw the dual pistols be introduced to the game. These were all right. These were actually pretty decent. I'm not going to talk about the Deadpool dualies. Those were bad, but the regular dual pistols were actually decent. Now, would I carry them? Yes and no. Obviously, if I found an AR, I'm picking those up, but when they first came out, I definitely rocked them quite a bit. And the epic and legendary versions of the burst AR were also introduced this season. These are not the AUG as we know in later chapters like Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, but they were still decent. The AUGs in Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 are way better after they made some changes to it and only made it a 2 burst instead of 3. But it was a decent AR. Obviously, the SCAR was still better, but you did get the epic and legendary versions this season. And here we are. The first vehicle was introduced this season, which was shopping carts. Obviously, not the biggest thing, not the most exciting thing, but at the time, it was really exciting because it was the first vehicle we ever saw. This thing was really slow. It was not great, but yeah, these were really cool at the time. I remember people ramping up and then just ramping all the way down and going so fast. It was really fun trying to hit snipes out of it too. But yeah, a lot of fun clips could be made with the shopping carts, and they're really iconic when you look back during this time period. And one last thing, at the very end of Season 4, Playground was introduced. This started the skill gap between players and allowed friends to 1v1 each other. We saw a lot of streamers also 1v1 each other, which was really cool. I remember watching Nick A30 and Myth 1v1 each other. It was so fun watching streamers 1v1 each other. I don't know what it was, but it was so fun. And I love Playground mode. I love messing around in it with my friends. It was awesome. I definitely think Chapter 1 Season 4 deserves its spot on this list. You could definitely make an argument for Chapter 1 Season 3. I do think the battle pass is better over there, but I do like what Season 4 brought to the gameplay more than what Season 3 did. The next season I'm going to talk about is Chapter 2 Season 2, released on February 20th, 2020. We all saw this one coming. This season is incredible. You could say it's Fortnite's prime, or you could say it's Fortnite's second prime. I'm gonna say it's Fortnite's second prime. Chapter 1 was just, that was prime Fortnite right there. This is definitely Fortnite's second prime, and I will not back that down. Obviously, what made this season really stand out is what was going on in the world at that time. We all know what it was, and mythic POIs were first introduced this season, and you had a lot of them. You had the agency, you had the grotto, you had the shark, the rig, and the yacht, each with their own mythic boss, which were Midas, Brutus, Sky, TNTina, Meowscles, and they all dropped a vault keycard as well as their mythic weapon, which were, for Midas was the drum gun, for Brutus was the minigun, for Sky was the Scar, for TNTina was the Boombo, and for Meowscles was the heavy AR. But let me talk about Sky. Sky's Scar was insane. I loved that gun. The fire rate was through the roof on that gun. It was so fun. And you also got the infinite grapple gun from Sky. It was so much fun to use and just fly around the map. Midas's mythic drum gun was also busted as crap, as well as Brutus's minigun. All these mythic weapons were insane, and I think it's really balanced how there was multiple mythic items and they were all decently good, besides the Boombo. The Boombo was not that great, and the heavy AR was okay. But yeah, focusing the season around mythics was a really good idea. You know, it added something new that we have never seen any other season prior to this one. And next, we also had a new vehicle, which was the helicopter. You could go crazy high with this thing. I remember literally sitting in a helicopter all game and getting a win, flying down towards the end and just killing the last team. But yeah, this was our second vehicle that would be able to fly. And this season also brought the cardboard boxes, the decoys, and Deadpool's dual pistols, which were absolutely trash. So we're not even gonna talk about those. But the decoys were cool. Cardboard boxes, kind of useless. You know, those were just there. We cannot forget about the battle pass though. The battle pass, honestly, this is the best battle pass we have ever seen. It is so remarkable and memorable and iconic when you think of Fortnite. You had Midas, which is one of the best tier 100 skins we've ever seen. You had Sky, you had Maya, which was first customizable character that we ever got, meaning like you could choose what you wanted to put on it, but you couldn't change it, which kind of sucks because my Maya looks like trash. But yeah, chapter 2 season 2, absolute peak season when you think of Fortnite. Moving on, 2 seasons later, chapter 2 season 4, released on August 27th, 2020. This was the Marvel season with the Marvel Battle Pass. You had a lot of new additions to the game. You had Pleasant Park turned into Doom's Domain, which held Dr. Doom's mythic bomb. Pumps were unvaulted this season. That was a huge thing that was lacking in season 3 of chapter 2, where you had the charged shotgun instead of the pumps. But pumps were unvaulted, everybody was happy. And this season had the biggest mid-season update, I want to say, of all time. You had Stark Industries and Iron Man added to the map, and Iron Man dropped his repulsors. He also had another mythic in the game, which was his Unibeam, which was broken, absolutely busted. You could line that thing up like a railgun, shoot through builds. It was insane. Thor's mythic strike was added. Dr. Doom's mythic arcane gauntlets were also added, and we got one of the best LTMs of all time, Marvel Knockout, which was just like the Spy Knockout tournament. I don't know the actual name, but in season 2 you also had a similar knockout game mode, and essentially you had 16 teams in a bracket, and you would compete against another team for the most amount of eliminations to advance to the next round, all the way up to the finals. And in this game mode you had Wolverine's claws, She-Hulk's fist, Storm's tornado launch, Black Panther's kinetic armor, and Venom's smash and grab. It was a really fun game mode, and in this season, even if you weren't a Marvel fan, which I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, I just started like watching Marvel movies recently, so I wasn't even a Marvel fan, and this season was so special. Once again here, we're kind of seeing that these mythic heavy seasons are very fun as long as it's balanced. It wasn't balanced really if you think about it, but you had multiple mythics around the map, so everybody could get a mythic, so it wasn't unfair. Yo, this is Drippy. During editing, I was going to add chapter 3 season 1, but I felt like the spray meta and the absolute busted MK7 was just a little annoying, and I didn't really play that much that season, so I didn't want to include it because it just didn't feel right. But I totally understand if you think that is one of the best seasons of Fortnite. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that. If you would like to see a part 2 of this video of me talking about chapter 3 season 1 and a couple other great Fortnite seasons, let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you think some of the best Fortnite seasons of all time are in the comments below. Let me know what I got right, let me know what I got wrong, what would you change. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.